Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. In today's video, we are talking dry, dehydrated skin. I don't think this is a skin type I actually dedicate enough time to here on Mad About Skin, and I want to put that right in today's video. I'm going to be sharing with you the key ingredients you need to include in your skincare routine if you're serious about tackling dehydration and dryness in the skin. I'll also share with you some hints, tips, and skincare hacks that I've accumulated over the years on how are the best ways to maximize the impact in terms of hydration from any products that you choose. I want this to be like a one-stop shop for all things gorgeous, glowing, dewy, and hydrated skin. So sit back, relax, and let's talk all things dry skin. Now, before we get into this, I want to issue the world's biggest disclaimer. I'm aware there's a big difference between dry and dehydrated skin. I think sometimes we overcomplicate our skincare, and here at Mad About Skin, I like to just strip it right back to basics and kind of simplify everything, because you know what, we're not all scientists, we're not all cosmetic formulators, and sometimes being so complicated, it can kind of turn us off from skin. In truth, the difference is that dry skin is usually characterized by a lack of sebum production in the skin, whereas dehydrated skin is a lack of moisture, a lack of water in the skin. These two things are very different, but I've found through these hacks and these ingredients that I'm going to recommend today, you can actually tackle both things. So instead of sitting there and thinking, is my skin dry? Is it dehydrated? Actually, just follow these ingredients and these rules, and honestly, it will serve you whatever your skin happens to be doing. I want to keep this short and sweet, so I'm going to cut the waffle and delve straight on into it. And let's start with the hacks and what we can actually do in terms of using the products that we have in our routine more effectively to tackle dryness and dehydration. Well, the hack number one is minimize the amount of hot showers you take. I know there's so many people screaming at me right now saying, I love my warm showers, my hot baths. They're honestly what keeps me going in the day and gets me up on a morning. And I love them too. However, the hotter the water, the more likely you are to suffer with a loss of the oils that the skin naturally produces and keeps our skin hydrated and nourished. Cooler water sees that oil loss much slower, and so I would say if you want a really hot shower, you want that hot bath, just minimize the total amount of time you spend in it. You don't need to turn down the thermostat if you don't want, but just minimize the total amount of time you spend in it in terms of the skin on our face. If you take too many hot showers and spend too long under hot water, that will just increase the rate of sebum loss in the skin, and those naturally occurring oils in the skin are what keeps our skin healthy. So just do what you can to minimize your total exposure to really warm water. Secondly, think really carefully about the cleanser that you're using. The cleansing step in our routine is the one that's going to strip and dry our skin the most. That's because we're applying products that are designed to remove dirt, debris, SPF, and break down oils. They'll naturally break down some of the naturally occurring oils in our skin as well, so be really mindful of the cleanser that you're using. It should never leave you feeling stripped, dry, and tight-skinned after you've used it. If it does, you're probably using the wrong one, and you're always going to be fighting for the rest of your routine to offset that dryness that you've caused through using the wrong cleanser. I broke down my favorite cleansers by skin type in a recent video, so hopefully that'll help you find your perfect pairing, and I'll leave a link to it up there. Thirdly, I want to call out facial oils. Facial oils don't need to break the bank. There's some really inexpensive ones out there. And what I like to do is tackle dry and dehydrated skin in two ways. First and foremost, replenish the lost and missing hydration. You could do that with some really great products that I'm going to come on to later in the video. But beyond just that, you also need to lock in that moisture that you've added, because transepidermal water loss, which is moisture from the skin lost to the environment around us, is one of the key reasons that we suffer from dry, dehydrated skin, and how your skin might start off reasonably hydrated at the start of the day and dry as the day goes on. You can slow this down and prevent it by adding an occlusive layer that just locks everything in, and I think facial oils are the best way to do that. So choose whichever is the right one for you. And again, I've broken the best facial oils by skin type down in a recent video, which is linked up there. Find your perfect match and add 2 drops into whatever moisturizer you choose, and that way it'll just dial up the occlusivity and just prevent some of that transepidermal water loss as you travel through the day. Fourth and final when it comes to the hacks is don't allow your skin to fully dry before you put on your moisturizer. Often what we do is we apply one product, wait for it to sink in, we'll then apply the next product, wait for it to dry down, apply the next product until we get to the end. We then wait for our skin to be entirely dry and we put our moisturizer on. Actually, this isn't the right way to approach it. What you want to do is lock in that moisture that you've added to the skin. So allow your skin to be a little bit damp, a little bit tacky before you then put on your moisturizer. That way, that water that's sat there on the skin will be locked in by that occlusive layer that the moisturizer's providing. It's just a much more effective way of locking in the hydration that you've added. You don't ever want your skin to be super dry between steps. Allow it time to sink in a little bit and then apply your next product, because serums apply better onto damp skin anyway. So if you need to rehydrate midway through with one of your favorite toners or serums, absolutely be my guest, but always make sure that when you top everything off with your moisturizer, there is some dewiness, there's some dampness to the skin, because that way it's just going to lock in all of that goodness. Now, we've got through the hints, tips and hacks, which hopefully I think are inexpensive and everybody could do, just to tweak or amend their existing routine. Let's come on to the ingredients that you really need to be looking for if you're serious about tackling dryness and dehydration in the skin. I think hyaluronic acid is the obvious one that everybody seems to have heard about, and I think it's a little bit overused. It's a humectant, which means it will draw water into itself and retain it in the skin. That's fantastic. However, hyaluronic acid can be a little bit irritating to some people, and also if you use it in arid climates, it can actually end up sucking moisture from the deeper levels of the skin into itself, so it can exacerbate dehydration. I think there's a place in people's skincare routine for hyaluronic acid, but I'd be really cautious about how much you use. I often see people layering toner after toner after toner, thinking that that's going to help with any dehydration they have in their skin. In the end, they look wet. They definitely don't look hydrated, and that just evaporates, and it's done really nothing for your skin. You spent a lot of money without a whole lot of benefit. It's all about using the right ingredients and layering them properly. So hyaluronic acid has a place, but I'm going to come on to some ingredients that I just think are superior to that. First and foremost, let's talk glycerin. I love glycerin, and it really was hard to find in skincare a couple of years ago, but now all brands have cottoned on to the fact it's super inexpensive to formulate with, and it has so many great benefits for tackling dehydration and dryness in your skin. It works in two ways. First and foremost, it's a humectant like hyaluronic acid, so it will draw and retain moisture in the skin, which is fantastic when you're wanting to offset some of the dryness. However, it also has another benefit. It will provide a slightly occlusive layer on the skin in a way that hyaluronic acid doesn't. This again just helps to prevent transepidermal water loss. So it'll draw the moisture in and then lock it in. Lock it in all day long, which is absolutely fantastic, and why I think it's a superior humectant to hyaluronic acid. You can use it so well with other ingredients because it pairs beautifully. It's like the best friend of all your skincare. So definitely look out for glycerin in whatever products you use. I'm going to call out a couple of my favorites. First and foremost is this. This is the Face Theory Super Gel Moisturizer. I love this product. It's great for acne prone skin. If you have any dryness in the skin, but you also suffer with breakouts, this could be your best friend because the glycerin will work wonders on your skin. I also want to give an honorable mention to this, which is the Daily Moisture Cream by V Green, one of my favorites, and also a great vegan alternative because often really nourishing and hydrating products aren't vegan. So if you're living a plant-based lifestyle, this could be your best friend, and I really, really do enjoy using it on the skin. Both of these, I'd say, give a light level of hydration. They're certainly not the sort of products that take the hydration into overdrive. So be my guest and add into these any additional facial oils that you want to, like I said before, because that'll just increase the levels of hydration and occlusivity that you get from whichever of these two you choose. Now, let's talk urea. I think urea has a really bad reputation in skincare. I have no idea why. People just seem to think of it as a really bad ingredient. It's actually fantastic. And you see any dermatologist online will be singing the praises of urea, and I really wish more brands would formulate with it. It softens hardened proteins in the skin. So if alongside your dryness and dehydration that you have in your skin, you find it itchy, you feel it red, almost a bit coarse, and you feel like you'll never have smooth skin, don't worry, because urea is your very best friend. It'll soften those hardened proteins, which gives the skin a more soft and supple feel. It'll prevent cracking if that's something you experience with your dry skin, and it'll also relieve some of that itchiness and some of that redness that you can get with it. Honestly, it's a ding 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 absolute holy grail, and I'd say a must-have for anyone that has dry or dehydrated skin. It's becoming increasingly popular in products, but it can be really difficult to find still. I formulated my Got You Covered Super Serum with urea because honestly, it's been a lifesaver for me for the past 10 years, and I was finding it really, really difficult to find. In here, you've got the glycerin that I mentioned before. You've also got urea. You've got some other ingredients I'm going to come on to in a minute, but for me, the urea is one of the star performers in this serum. It'll prevent any irritation, any redness. It'll also prevent any chapping and will just lock in all that moisture. Honestly, I would recommend everybody with dry skin look out for urea. Whether you choose that serum I've just referenced or any other skincare product, just look out for urea on that ingredients list because it will be your absolute savior. Now, should we talk ceramides? I love I love a good ceramide. It used to only be the case that if you wanted ceramide, you had to reach for CeraVe. But again, as with a lot of the ingredients I'm mentioning now, brands are really cutting on to how fantastic they are, and you see ceramides cropping up in so many products. I love a good ceramide because it's actually the building blocks for our skin. It'll help improve the barrier function of the skin, and when our skin's barrier is locked tight and functioning at full capacity, we're much less likely to suffer from transepidermal water loss, which means that not only are they hydrating and moisturizing and nourishing as ingredients on their own, ceramides also build the skin's natural defenses, which means that even if we're not relying on all of this skincare, our skin will naturally be prepped to fight off that moisture loss and evaporation much more effectively. I said before that a lot of brands are now formulating with ceramides, and I find a lot of sunscreens that I love have ceramides in, which is great because it's the last step in your routine, tops everything off, and just gives the skin building blocks it needs to be healthy throughout the day. The Make Prem new formulated UV Defense Me is my ride or die holy grail at the moment. This is packed full of Panthenol to calm and soothe. It's also got some glycerin in here, and most importantly, it's got ceramides in there. So it's just a great way to end your routine. Finally, I'm going to call out Panthenol. So Panthenol, again, as with a lot of these that I'm calling out, I feel is an unsung hero. It's underappreciated in the skincare world. It's a fantastic ingredient that's known to be really great for dialing back any redness and sensitivity in the skin. But it also penetrates quite deeply into the skin. It's absorbed really well in terms of it being skin compatible, and it adds the hydration into the skin in a deep, meaningful way, which I think is really important. It'll also, as I said, offset the dryness, the redness, the irritation, which we can often see with drier or dehydrated skin types, meaning it's an absolute must-have. I honestly think if you're totally serious about tackling your dry, dehydrated skin, having all 4 of these core ingredients that I've just called out is an absolute must. Whether you can find that all in one product or you want to choose a number of different products to add them in. My favorite with Panthenol are these 2. This is the Geek and Gorgeous Liquid Hydration. Beautiful. One of the most hydrating toners I've ever used, and that Panthenol is the star performer. And I also like this. This is the Make Prem Extra Moisture Essence. This, I'd say, is thicker in terms of the way it applies than the toner that I mentioned just now, but it's beautiful. Hydrates you to the gods, and that Panthenol just calms and soothes everything down. Like I say, whether you choose to go for just one of these ingredients or you want to go for all 4 of them to get maximum effect, all of them will add so much benefit to your dry, dehydrated skin routine. I think we can all suffer from dryness from time to time. Even people like me that are a grease slick morning through till evening with oily, acne-prone skin can, in winter, feel a little bit dry, a little bit tight. My skin feels a little uncomfortable, which is when I switch to these products that add so much value. I would love to know in the comment section below what your ride or die favourite products for tackling dry, dehydrated skin are. So sound off in the comment section below, and wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, and love your skin. Take care. Bye.